Yes, 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 yes.
Ini ngapa ada webinar gitu?
Wih, kota saya banyak mas.
Wih, sombong, sombong. Selamat malam. Yes.
Aduh.
Belum bos.
I hope. This is first time, first time I have done this workshop, okay? So I don't know if it's difficult or if it's you will be able to tell me what you think. Hopefully, okay? Let's see how it goes. So okay, about the molar orientation. So this first one. Height and measure, which we will not be doing. Wear stages and also the importance of the scale. The workshop activities is you will find out how the molars are morphologically different, shape, morphological characteristic, and what they're called, the bits of the teeth. You will also then have a go at identifying the molar rows. This picture gives you a rough indication of where the teeth are located in the red. I'm to just do English. Okay, so I don't know whether that's very accurate, but these are the teeth we're going to focus on. Not the inside, just the mold. All right, first one, orientation. Okay, so we have, okay, starting from, this is looking at the scale from the top of the head. And so you have sinistral, which is the left side. If I was a rat, this is my sinistral teeth. And over here is dextral. So right and left, here, as we go through. So sinistral and dextral, so dexterity and sinister. If you're looking up on the scale, you've got buckle.
Molar tuh tulang ya? Oh, cuman anjing molar tuh cowok jenis molar.
Oke.
Technology. Okay, so if we're looking up at the scale, you've got buckle, which is near the cheek. Now, some researchers call it labial. In biology, labial means lips. So buckle to the cheek, but most people call it labial. And then lingual, linguistics, the tongue. So that's me also. Then the mandible, you've got buckle is the outside of the tooth, near the cheek, and lingual, again, the inside of the tooth. And you can see that the mandible is slightly different shape. Here you've got your ascending rays and nice and smooth. But you won't be dealing with that part of the Murinae tonight. Okay. Okay, you won't be doing measures, but this is how Murinae molars are typically measured, either with calipers or with a microscope. And so the maximum molar width, the crown length, which is going from the top of the first tooth to the bottom of the last tooth, we only have three, so from there to there, or alveolar length. It's a good idea to do both. Some researchers only do crown length. Some researchers only do alveolar length. So if you have fossils where you have parts of the bone, parts of the jaw, take both measurements. I find alveolar is much more reliable because the teeth in the fossil will move. There's no soft tissue. Okay, it's kanya. It's only bone and tooth. And sediment gets in there and makes it longer. Whereas the alveolar, which is the bone, start of the bone, end of the bone, is more fixed. It's a more reliable measure. But huge variation as to how people measure rat teeth of Murinae teeth. One really important part of rat teeth is that they change. So as the rat gets older, as the murine gets older. So when they're born, this is what first molar from the maxilla looks like, and it's all little cones. These are fossils from Murinae. So these ones I think is 700,000 years old. And you can see really nice preservation. Sediment very no roots, but sediments really tough in its area. Okay, hard to get off. So it's you get a little bit incrustation. And we tried lots of methods to try and remove it with no success. So unless we pick out each of the 670 molars with a toothpick, or then we basically get it's a lot of time. So you've got these little tiny cones here. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 usually. And you can see that the little cones have got a little white piece here, and that is designed to wear away. So even when the little murine is not born, maybe in its mother's stomach, it'll grind its teeth and wear away the tops of these. And the reason why they're designed that way is to form what we call laminae. So they merge, and in the middle of the laminae is dentin. So that is the design of this of rat teeth. They're just designed to create these ridges, very similar to the elephant. All these ridges. Okay, so and this is the wear stage from this is the juvenile. Oh, the tooth is the same size. It isn't any bigger. Just erupts. Young adult, old adult, senescent. And at the end of the tooth wear, it's just outside enamel and just dentin in the middle. Cannot identify. Just a dentin pull. And the pattern is that they slowly merge together. So these are starting to merge, and then more merging, and then just enamel on the outside, dentin in the middle. Okay, this is an illustration, so that's the M1. Here's a maxillary row. M2 when it comes to as a juvenile, and then down to a dentin pull. The M3 as a juvenile, down to the dentin pull. And the same, just an illustration of the lower teeth, mandible. Okay, so this is kind of cute, what it looks like when it comes out. It's the first molar, and then here, worn away, a very old giant rat. So these molars are quite big. Most mice molar are very tiny, and rat molars are slightly bigger, but they're still quite tiny. Okay, but they vary. So this is an illustration of the upper tooth, the maxillary N1. And you can see this is one species, another one. This one, when it's wearing down the bottom, the two little cones at the top. Form a heart shape with my heart. Yep. Others, they form an X shape, depending on the placement of the cones. So for measuring and knowing about wear stage, it will differ for each configuration of molars. So if you have a very worn rat tooth, or mouse tooth, it's very hard. You need to know what it looked like when it was juvenile to be really sure. This is very different again. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Okay, so and this is Rattus rattus. I'm not actually dealing with Rattus rattus. Strangely enough, Rattus rattus and Musculus, so Musculus is the normal house rat, house mouse, and Rattus rattus is your standard rat that lives with everybody. very little information apart from medical studies. So, they're everywhere, but they're actually hard to find out information, comparatively speaking. Okay. So, that was the introduction. Just going to tell you about your workshop activities. That's a picture of a lot of mirrors. Just there. If you want, you can read through however many there are there, but it just illustrates. Okay. So you have 3 worksheets. We will be working together on the first bit. This is how the teeth are called. Oh, did I misspell? I actually spelled Mr. Down. I got, yeah, and it's Pigeon's one. Okay, and so there's different, so this is what the molars are called, and the bits of the molars, but we'll be going through that together. Then you have worksheets with outlines of different molars to sort of go through and see. It's about try and just give it a go. As I said, I don't know if it's very difficult. I don't know if it's really easy. I've been living with this for many years and, I forget. So you've got 3 different worksheets. Okay. This is the one that we'll do together. It's the same. It's the same species, but 2 different drawings of it. Important with the worksheet is that what you get is not to scale. It is to scale, but some of them are 5 millimeters and they're the same size as some of them that are 10 millimeters. So check the size is really important. Okay, so that's one worksheet. And then I put together a table of characteristics for 7 marine species. We will deal with Monotrix hens together because it's the most complicated one. Very rare, but it has lots of characteristics. Okay. And then talking together, just go through and see how you go. Oh yeah. That's the other thing is that I've given you drawings because it's easier to sort of things, but what's really important is to try and track down reference images. So you have this fossil, what genus is it? Species is a bit too high, but what genus is it? And that means that you're dependent on what's been published. Okay? And they will publish in black and white. You'll get SEM, very early SEM, sometimes color, black and white, and sometimes only a drawing. And if you remember from last week, we had that little mouse where the drawing was totally inaccurate. You just kind of, you can only deal with what you've got. But what's fantastic is that BRIN, juvenile, has a reference page. So you can go, look at them and see what's around. And then, photos, you take measurements, and then you see how you go. I think that's the end of it. Yeah, I think it's simple. Yeah, okay. So the workshop is going to come. Oh, okay, I need some volunteers, please. Distribute. Yeah.
Ada pertanyaan dari
Oh ya.
This one.
ada pertanyaan ya. Langsung aja sekarang.
Bagi para hadirin di Zoom meeting dipersilakan untuk bertanya. Ada nggak? Nggak ada.
Kira question.
Ya.
Oh,
Okay. Ada question.
do you have any questions? That are very short. I think what I was I'm going.
Untuk para peserta di Zoom meeting, apabila ada pertanyaan bisa di chat atau langsung raise hand. Nanti bisa kita langsung bacakan ke pertanyaannya.
Dan bagi para hadirin, silakan bertanya juga yang ada di sini maupun yang sedang ada di Zoom meeting dan YouTube, silakan langsung di unmute saja dan sebutkan nama dan asal dan pertanyaannya apa.
I have a question, so do I need to, are we still there or we finished?
We are still going,
Oh,
but there's
okay.
no question for you.
Stop share.
Okay, yeah, okay. So alveolar length is actually measuring the jaw, so, so the alveolar, so the teeth have roots, and they go into sockets in the bone. And so if you go from the furthest most anterior of the socket to the most posterior of the socket, you're measuring the alveolar according to the size of the teeth or the size of the molar row. If it's just the teeth, if it's just measuring down, you get sediment in between your teeth, which will make it slightly longer. What you do is nothing more. If you're excavating in the flat, then maybe you can get rid of that, but it's still very wobbly in so the bone is in a fix, whereas the teeth, they wobble. Okay. Can I get my video?
Yeah.
Okay, take it here if you want to sit on the floor. If you're comfortable on the floor, I will be.
Apakah semua sudah dapat?
Have two worksheets, one that looks like this. And one that's 3 pages all together. Or,
Halaman kan? Sudah semua belum?
everybody got? Okay, so the PDF. It's on the PDF.
The PDF. Oh, PDF.
PDF of. Animation.
Nomenklatur.
Oh.
Nomenklatur.
Yeah, okay, here's. Okay, can we see it? Okay, so this is, okay.
Iya, udah bisa
The names, okay, so there are different
Bagus.
conventions for calling out the parts of the teeth. There are different conventions for calling out parts of the teeth. Now, on that, so this is a bit of paper that is your guide, is your reference for the morphological characteristics. Okay, and they change from upper teeth to lower teeth. So the upper teeth, so this is maxillary, and it's ventral. So buccal on that side, levers on that side. Usually, the bigger bumpy bit of the, you can draw on these notes, by the way. The bumpy bit here, so it's pretty flat here on the M1, it's bulgy out here. Usually the lingual has the bumps and the buckle is flat. It reverses the T. Okay, so you get your M1. Now, these have got little numbers on them. They've got T1, T2, T3, T4, T5, T6, T8, and T9. You can read that one. And there, the T stands for tubercle, which is another word for cut. So if I say that the T1 or the T2 is very big on the N1, the N1 is your sorry. The way with the numbers is that the capital N is for upper T and the lowercase n is for your anterior T. So you've got T1, T2, T3. So that's one row of cusps. So tick is cusp T1 is +1, T2 is +2, T3 is +3, and so on. When you get down the bottom, you've only got T, if the numbers start lingually and move across. That's the convention. You don't have to learn it off by heart. We have a reference in here. Behavior. There's a red dot coming away. T8 and 9. Oh, right, okay. There's no T7 on that particular tooth, but some rats do have an extra cusp on the third lamina. And so they just call them there's T8 and 9. Then the second tooth, the middle tooth, and in the jaw, T1 is usually this little pipe that pops up here. T1 and T3. There's no T2 on the second molar. Then you've got T4, T5, T6, and then T8 and 9 again. Okay. These particular teeth from Murinae, very old, 7,000 years ago, they have a little lingual spur. And then the third molar, you've got T1, which is the tubey bit pops up. No T2, T3 is often small, tiny. Then you've got T4, T6, often they will merge. And then T8 and T9. Yeah. It is a bit complicated, isn't it? Dentists do this as well, naming the cost. Are you ready for the mandible or am I being too fast? Mandible. Okay, so the lower teeth, they have different, they're not called teeth. They've got words instead of teeth. So the lower teeth, you've got your anterocentral cusp, which isn't present on this one, but it is in here. That's an extra little cusp that only some rats have. Extra little one at the top. You've got anterobuccal. So the two or three cusps right at the top of the first molar have particular names, and no other molar in the lower teeth have the same name, which is your anterobuccal, anterocentral, and anterolingual. The anterobuccal is often called the anterolingual. But anyway, will not go there. Then we've got slightly sort of different names here. So we've got the protoconid, metaconid, hyperconid, and endoconid. So it's PD, ND, HD. I never use those words. They're just, it's just thirsty cusps. That's what they're called. Okay, but you don't usually need to reference that much. These ones up the top are really important, but these ones, the lamina, buccal cusp, the lamina, as long as you get there, you're fine. What's interesting about the lower teeth is they have extra little pillars, extra little tiny cusplets to increase the surface area eating. And there you've got antero-buccal cusp-split, ABC, antero towards the top, buccal cheek, cusp-split the top. And it's usually located where it is there. And then you've got the posterior-buccal couplet, PBC, again, between the two lamina. And at the end, you have what's called a posterior cingulum, which is another little tube. The second tooth is often wider than the first tooth, but not always. But it only has two lamina and an antero-buccal cusp-split, mostly posterior cingulum. And then the third tooth, N3, did I just draw on something? The one that's got a red stump on it, that's you've got the antero-buccal cusp-split, and often there's that the HD and the ED, which for a long time I thought was a posterior-buccal. No, there you go. You can always be right on everything. Okay. This is a different invention. This comes from Chennai in Thailand, and the cusplets on the sides are called CV1, CV2, CV3, CV4, CV5, depending on the location. We don't have to worry about that one. I'm just letting you know if you could pursue this as a research thing, you're going to be hit with lots of different inventions. This diagram here is what you're going to be referencing when we go through together the naming of the matrix cleaners. So let's turn to the next, to your worksheet. This page.
Someone wants to ask first.
No.
No.
Oh, you do?
About the previous.
Oh, sure. Any questions, clarifications? Because we will be going through that all again.
I wanted to ask something.
Oke, terima kasih. Jadi di sini saya mau bertanya soal ketika kita misalnya dua molar tikus, two different molar,
Yeah.
Then the size is different. It's the same. The size is same.
Yeah.
Tetapi but the cup is
This
same. The size is same. That's in the different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apakah itu bisa dianggap sebagai dua spesies yang sama?
Can we refer to same species?
Yes. Oh, no, okay. So we can have where you've got the molar row is exactly the same size, okay? But they're two different species, or they're two different genus. Because I mean, the rat tip isn't going to range that much. There's thousands of rats. So a month. When I say rats, I mean months. Okay? I would prefer to say pickles. So there's the biggest picture. But there's lots and lots of them. So you are going to get the same widths and the same lengths across different genus and different species. But the molar characters are going to be different. Otherwise, you wouldn't have a different species based on the molar. Most genus and species is based on the skull, the width of the palate, the length of the tail, how many fingernails or toenails the parent, all that kind of stuff, the color. And the other thing is habitat. So they will some of the when I hand out, we'll do that, you'll see that later. Okay. All right, let's go through. What I want you to do is, okay, so this is a matrix penis. This is one diagram of a young matrix penis. The matrix penis is very rare rats. Oh, yeah, I'll leave that for a second. Okay, so what we want to do is go through now. This same drawing, the maxilla, is on your sheet, on your record. sheet. Yeah, so it's on. So this one. Oops. Sorry. So it's actually here. In Excel, it's here. So you can see now, master doesn't put the letter T on the sheet. So you can see it. Okay, so we're going to go through and name. T. I want you to, so I've got the arrows here. Now the grey solid arrows are the cost, and the dotty lines are for experts or plastic or the PC, the SQL. So the numbering system starts fingering. So this one, and I want you to write this on your sheet so you get a bit of practice, is the T1. So starting from this point here, that's a T1, my way. It's T1, T2, T3, T4, T5 is in the middle, T6. This rat has T7. Most rats don't have a T7. T8, T9. And down here is the TC, the posterior singular neck. You just kind of hit it. Because you can begin with all.
What is the difference between T7 and T6?
The dotted line is down the bottom would be the, yeah, PC. So you just write PC. I haven't got it. Oh, that one doesn't have PC. Yeah, PC. So some rats have a posterior cingulum on the upper teeth. Most rats only have the bottom teeth. This is the reason why they use the matrix penis as the example, because it has all the pictures all together, all the colors. And another level. That would be C1. But this one's reversed. Based on T1. Yes, I remember. We want to follow the boundaries of T1 cat. This T1. And then we start from your side, we pull, we find, we sweep. This is molar and this is mandible. So for the mandible, you need to refer to exhale. Mandible. But you can have a go. Hold on. Good, good, good. Yep, keep going. Then here, the dotted line, that's a PC. So it would be 7, 8, 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh, it's right, it's so beautiful. Where is the boundary? Where do you go? Yeah, but somewhere maybe. The lead. Yeah.
Always start number one. Popcorn.
Yeah.
And then
Very tiny. It's a medium size,
And then
we call it the fuel.
this graph is really because
Yeah, so this one hasn't got a filter. This one will work. That's 47. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, the posterior cingulum is always at the vertical tooth, the end of the tooth. This is, I don't think I'll use this smaller example. So if look at next year, you've got better on your reference sheet. It doesn't look like one, does it? Yeah, but you- Good eye. Now, this one, yeah, you're very sophisticated. So, yeah.
Oh. Well, it's fine. And YouTube,
I take it.
on YouTube, we need to.
Does everybody seems to have finished with the maxilla? Yeah. Now, it's something that, okay, user error. Okay, so,
Not yet.
different doctors, but maybe a little bit confusing. And there should be another, this is where the T7 of this. So, is that right? Yeah, where the red dot is, that's where the T7 is. So sorry. Yeah. No, it's actually down there.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a legal spell, just to be used in seven.
Language and argument, language for that is used.
Fair enough.
Number. Do we have another thing?
Other questions? We want
So, if I can have iced tea. No. Anyone? Just to take you through the lower teeth. I will come around and put out fires the upper teeth in a second, but I'll just take you through the lower teeth. I am learning how to deliver this workshop better next time. Okay, so here is this tooth here. This dotted line is the anterior central cusp, ACEN, ACEN. And then for these ones, you just go through the, I need to refer, you've got your, okay, so you've got your ACEN. Then this one, okay, so you can sort of tell buckle, because buckle has usually all these tiny little cusps down the side. Again, that's on the cheek side. They have these little extra cusps, usually. Very, very usually, but sometimes you'll get a cusp on the other side. You know, they didn't read the text. They're allowed to be a bit different. Okay, so this is, referring to my sheet, this is the A buck, which is the anterior central cusp, and then this is the A link, anterior lingual cusp. So I'll let you write that down first. So we've got ACEN, ABUC, ALINT. ACEN, ABUC, ALINT. And that's the only slightly complicated bit with the lower teeth. So it's on your sheet. It's the same as what's here, except this tooth doesn't have an anterior central cusp, but I've indicated where it would be. No, driving me crazy. Now let's go down to the other molars, the other cusps on the molar. So this is your MD. This is, this is your PD. This one here is a red stripe. This is your what is it, ED, and this is HD, and that sort of repeats up on the side. So let's do the stuff so it's on the side first.
Yes.
Okay, so this little capsule here, little tiny little tube, is the anterobuccal cusplet. It's a cusplet. So the dotted lines are cusplets on this side, and the posterior cingulum on that side. So the top one, the first cusplet is your ABC, anterobuccal cusplet, and then the second one down is your posterior buccal cusplet. And they follow that logic. This is your anterobuccal cusplet up here, and this, so it should be dotted, and this is anterobuccal cusp. Sorry, this is the cusp, anterobuccal cusp, and this is the cusplet down the bottom. This is your anterobuccal cusp, and there are no cusplets on the third molar. But it's very easy when you're doing the 600 rat thing to get these two completely confused. So when Gert and I were processing 670 teeth, most of which were isolated molars, we made up names for them. Which anyway, we had smiley face and we had sunglasses. We sort of just made up and sort of give us one. Move to the top, to the front. Or, this is very bad for Yeah, that's mandibular, but it's a different dimension. Dimension, yeah, so this is the one that will fill with color. This one is just, I'll be showing you, some people number, but the.
Oh, it's just like
It's a reference for you, yeah. Yeah, so the pencil. Yeah, combine, and you have this, you get your method of combine it, but I reckon this one's. So, I think this one was. Because the secret of the, that's a different system. That's well, I think so. But maybe I didn't go with it for a while. The same species. I just flipped that one over, it's made it a little bit more complicated than it has to be, I should have changed it.
Yeah, the most of it.
Yeah, we don't get the months, we don't get this.
This was the most. Very sad. Seven species. Yes, same as this one. From name of this level. Yeah, but then the other. Oh, okay. So you. We'll talk later on this side of the.
Yeah.
Quite different.
This is one. Yeah. So this is from, what we're trying to do. And this one, which is from something. Next one now.
Okay. Anybody is fair, then.
Yeah, oh, sorry, the variation. So the question was, why do some rats have T7 and some don't? The answer is you've got evolution, you've got diet, and you've just got genetic drift and species variation. So, yeah. But the matrix famous is exactly the type is very rare. Okay, so it's information rare. That you hardly ever see when you would. So I haven't studied it in depth, so because I'm not going to have, there's never been archaeology that remains of this right. I covered it. It's never been excavated. It's only been seen occasionally, very rarely. But it's used as a model for teaching and learning about the cost because it has everything, which makes it very confusing. The other rats have been much more sensitive. So I picture you the hard one first. So it is a puzzle. This is the game, like a puzzle, like a jigsaw puzzle. And there's no assessment. So it's about just getting familiar with what I've been doing for the last 4 years. Now, if we on this particular staying on the same page, did you notice this scale? Yves? If I know your name, you may go. Sorry about Yves. Okay, so if you notice the scale, that's 5 millimeters. So most of my research is based on microscope because they're really, really tiny. It's too hard. You couldn't just pick them up and go, oh yeah, there's an anthera buckle custlet, because they're really, really tiny. So microscope is really, really necessary. This set here is the same species, Matrix penis, but it's reversed. It's the other side. So for this one, this is the buckle. Okay, so this would be, oh, okay, okay, so I've got to get it in my head. So that's the buckle, that's the shoe. This would be dextrum and this would be sinistrum. This is also more worn, and so you get the pattern of these little cusps here become like a little person going. Yeah. You have to get through the day with studying tickles, okay? You've got to sort of like you get, whoa, that's very, very kind of like strange face here, monster face, as Bert was saying. And we've got a sad person here, and here are some sunglasses. So this is for helping to remember, that's the entry. Yeah, and here, oh, don't know what's going on there. Okay, I'm going to hand out another worksheet. It's another part of the worksheet. No, okay. That can we confirm? Okay. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So we need one. It's kind of and then here you have one, two,
Okay, thank you.
I hear.
Okay, thank you. So this is a complicated sheet. Yeah, okay. So here are 7 murine species and organism species. But actually, anyway, there's the Notrix canis, which is the one that you have just labeled. Well, that's the one that's really weird. It's from Borneo, Sumatra, and throughout Asia, but very rare. And then here I've got the characteristics as you go through. So we've got it's scansorial, okay, meaning that it climbs. It lives in lowland forest areas, less than 550 meters, and it's really rare. So with different species, you get different elevation. So similar, but from a different location. So where you excavate is going to be really important. Okay. The road length is 8.2 to 8.6 millimeters. Whereas as you look down here, this one, the next one is up to 10 millimeters. This one's 11.6, 10, 7, 3.9, and then 3.3, very, very small. So then we've got, okay, so this is what they do, where they live. So you've got where are they found, where do they live, and then what are the characters of their teeth? How long is the row, the maxillary row? How long is the mandibular row? Do the teeth overlap? This one's the only one that really doesn't. Okay, if you look at your reference sheet for the maxillary teeth overlap, so the M1 and M2 have got a little sort of projection of those cones go over the next two. So the M1 overlaps the M2, and the M2 overlaps the M3. That makes the teeth stronger. Most rats have that. Strange rats don't. The Notrix canis, which you've just gone through, doesn't overlap. If you have a look at the diagram, they're pretty separate. Okay. So it has a very slight overlap. The T1 on your in the Notrix canis, which is, if you have a look at your T1 on your diagram, it droops down. So the T1 on this one is droopy. Or it is distally oriented. It sort of is lower than the T2 and 3. T1 I'm talking about? Yes. It has little cusps in between at the top, but we don't realize from second. It does have a T7, and it has a posterior cingulum on the maxillary teeth, which most older rats don't have. The lower teeth, it's got a prominent anterocentral cusplet. It's on your diagram, so it's got that little extra cusp on the lower first tooth. The other two clusters underneath are pretty much equal size. So looking at the two that you just labeled, the A stand and the A lab is similar size. It's got anterior buccal cusplates, it's got the cusplates in a PC. This one, it's got the cusplates in a PC. And for this one, down there on an M3, the two lower cusps are separate. Okay. So that's what, oh, and I don't know, or I couldn't find how long the mandibular teeth are. Because most of the reference collections that you deal or most of the literature really focuses on the maxillary. Because that's the most diagnostic. You might occasionally get lower and one. So that's why you have to go to judul to measure. And have a reference collection for the area that you're working in. If you're in Sulawesi, lots of them. Okay. Now the bad news is, it's up to you to figure out what those diagrams of those rat teeth that are on the next two pages in the worksheet. Which rat is that? Okay. So what you're going to be doing is turn over the page. You've got 6 drawings with 6 different. And they're labeled A, B, C, D, E, F. I have the answers as to which one is which. I actually have to write it down because these people relatively new to me. I've only been living in for a couple of weeks. So you've got now, it's really important that you look at the scale. Otherwise, you'll be trying to figure out if this is one of the bigger rats when it's only 4 millimeters long in couple. So look at your scale. That's the first one. For me, some people go mythology first. I go size. Really want to know the size. And then you've got on that sheet, that complicated sheet, you've got these characteristics, of which are the first one, the matrix tennis, you can give it a tick, because you've already done that one, and it's not, you've only got 6. On those, you get that for 7, yep. And so it's one of the other 6. It's a puzzle. It's like a game. Yeah. I don't think it will be a hit on the internet, but just like a game, what rat tooth is that? Okay, size is really important. Okay, and the scales, I've made these pictures quite big so you can see, but as I showed you on the PowerPoint slide, some of them are actually really tiny. And you don't really have to worry about it because you can see them away. Those figures are very.
Okay, so the page 2. Page 2.
Yep. Look at this one, I'm not going to deal with it. I mean, I will.
Yeah.
So you can now apply all of that data, so this tape and come with 20 minutes.
Oh. And we met.
Okay, guys, The scale is in millimeters. Okay, and I've stretched each one of the pictures so that you can actually see it. But underneath each pair of maxillary and mandibular molars, it's got red pairs, the scale underneath. Okay? And that means the scale underneath is the scale matches that too. So this one looks about the same size as this one. But the scale, this is 5 millimeters, and this is 10 millimeters. So this one's huge. It's probably a giant rat, and this one, probably, this is chill. Yeah. So that might save you going through every single characteristic of every single rat to try and figure out which one's big. They're just big and small ones. Big ones. As I said, I wasn't sure if this workshop was going to be really easy. I think it's really complicated. But you are practicing swabbering. Yeah, well, I put in two slides just to clarify. So that means going to. Well, I can't remember. That's why I've got a couple of the answers written on. So once you're crazy.
Kita mulai dari satu lokal, kamu di sini. Interior, keduanya kecil, empat sampai temanya long and narrow object. Tapi ini mulai dua ya sama sekali ada tapi
Record.
What you doing, boy? No, it's tough. So then be informative.
Let's have a look at what the answers are, and I need my book. Ready? I have the answers here now. Okay. So, okay. What time is this? Can we see the worksheet? First, second page? Oh, it can be on the tablet, so it's not, yeah, okay, so, who thinks what? Oh. Okay, is the list interlinked in round roots the same size as somebody's new? Are they the same size? Is the drawing the same size? They're very, very similar. One is slightly bigger than the other one. So the molar for Savinus Murinae is how long is that in the region? Can you shoot? No, next one, how long is that? That one's 8.2 to 10 millimeters, whereas the other Savinus is 10.6 to 11.6. So which one is the scale is slightly different? That was me not when. Yes, it's under this, absolutely. But A is incredibly used. Anybody who got that? One gold star. Yay, gold stars. Give yourself a gold star. Yeah, absolutely.
If you got the Venus, right?
If you got the Venus right, you get the gold star. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Okay. How do we go with, I feel like I'm a game show host. How do we go with Melody? Okay. Anybody want to volunteer? Get up. Yes, we would. Yes. It's been done to and it's possible that the lower M1 has been found in Murinae from the Caligula Formation, 2011. So we could be standing on the fossils of this rat. Okay, so C must be. Mularius, yeah. Okay. Yeah, in the mix, yeah. Okay. Mularius, yeah. Okay, how to spell the letter T? Anybody got some T? No? Okay, get back on that one. How about F, E? Letter E for F. E. Let's E. E is the little drawing. Anybody go back to that one yet? Not yet, nope. Not yet, homework? Yeah. Yay! More or less figures on the two ways. And it's minute at this speed. And it lives in trees. Very cute. Long. And what about the egg? For Freddie? Yes, Neapolitanis. Yay! Bananos. He is the head, is the with your small
Okay.
no prizes. And then that must mean that D is the one that we haven't said yet. D for, D for,
Maksudnya Friday.
yeah.
That's one reason.
Maximus Drago.
So this has something after some white color.
No, Maximus is now being, genus actually being questioned with the DNA evidence, and it's now under Primus. Any questions? Any short questions? There was one thing that I forgot to mention, and I didn't want to tell you.
Oh, wait. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, here is a little cusp that's located between the two major kinds, and that's the T, that would be the T1 bis, and that's the T2 bis. The T1 bis, T2 bis. It's on the matrix kindness, and it's also on the hierarchy. So it has a little, if you turn to letter E, at the top where it looks like a frog, it's got a little eye, and that's the T, I just, T1 bis, T2 bis, up and up. Yeah, but I forgot to mention that, but if I mentioned it. With a constant confusion. Okay. That's it, right? Get to, thank you very much for trialing my workshop. Okay, everybody. Well done. Very first one, it will be different next time.
So much for this back and buy.
Nah, ada pertanyaan lagi sebelum kita lanjut ke sesi. Any more questions?
I think they're tired. So if you didn't, I'm doing rat too. Like, you know.
Some of my face.
So I sort of play, tag game, right? But instead of cards,
Dari para peserta Zoom, apakah ada yang ingin ditanyakan ke Ibu Susan? Sudah dapat dipersilakan bagi bapak-bapak dan ibu-ibu peserta workshop. Panjang ya, sektornya.
Can we say goodbye to the people in your mind? Malam.
Wave your hands to the camera. Bye-bye. Any closing remarks, maybe? Closing remarks, yeah.
Waktu, Topik are very, very important for excavations. They are very under-researched. They can drive you crazy, you should be sure. But once you get used to it, it's like everything that you learn that's new, the language is different. But once you get used to it, it starts to become more familiar, kind of interesting. And you can see from the spreadsheet that you can tell by the names a little bit of the environment. Okay, but thank you so much for being my experimental student. Bye. This is good. Okay, Mom. Yeah.
Terima kasih banyak. Thank you. Kita lambaikan kembali tangan ke kamera. Untuk para peserta Zoom. Kita kira ini workshop berikutnya. Semoga bermanfaat bagi pembelajaran mikrofauna ke depannya. Semoga menjadi keberkahan untuk kita semua. Untuk malam ini kita ucap syukur terlebih dahulu. Dan selamat tinggal dalam sehat selalu. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Baikkan tanganmu. Angkat tanganmu sedikit. Sampaikan lagi tangan. Bisa sampaikan lagi ada Pak Haji Adi, Hidayah, Haji Hidayatullah, Dunia, Muhammad Wildan, dan Pak Heri. Selamat malam. Sampaikan tangannya semua. Baik, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ini untuk kalian yang Zoom.